Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of 20 Minutes of Truth. I'm your host, Alex LaPasse. And today we're going to be talking about New Hampshire poker. We'll be talking about current events past week. We've got a special guest. I just remembered the camera was on, so you know who the special guest is. So I might as well introduce him. Timothy Don Fisher, otherwise known as TDF. Welcome. TDF, how are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I feel privileged and honored to be the first guest on this, what's going to become a legendary podcast.
I like how you're lying for the camera. I appreciate that, and I will take that into consideration. Even if you are in a rape camp right now, which it looks, you were here last night. But yeah, it's an interesting place to be. I kind of respect it.
It's peaceful. It's quiet. I've got a lot of noise and things going on where I'm living, so I didn't want to be interrupted. Didn't want to have my phone ringing. It's like locking yourself in a closet.
Okay, so out of respect for the podcast, okay, I like that. Okay, I can get on board with that. So the way that it's going to work for this podcast and for hopefully other episodes, if we manage to last that long, is we're going to have 10 minutes of discussion of current events, whatever room seems to have, had things going on that week. And then if we can get people to interview, I would like to interview them, no matter who it is, as long as you're associated with New Hampshire poker in some way, and people are going to know who you are, or people can learn about who you are, then I'd like to have you on the show. So TDF's first guest, one of the most well-known people. Figured he can be a good person to have on. So this, by the way, podcast is hosted by Limp Poker. If any of you found the podcast and don't know what Limp Poker is, then I'd have probably made it in the podcasting world, because I'm pretty sure everyone right now is a Limp member and probably knows about the podcast through that. But shout out to future me, in case this somehow by like a stroke of lightning takes off. So yeah, I guess we'll just start getting into some of the topics of the week. So topic this week, we're going to be talking about Cheers Poker Room. They had a 3-day tournament over Martin Luther King Day weekend, and it only ended up lasting for 2 days. They got a little bit less of a turnout than I think they were expecting. But before I talk about that, I think they aren't getting the level of positive accolades that I think they deserve. Theoretically, you could have paid $250, of which they would have kept, I think, $50, and you could have gotten 3 days of play, and they're profiting. The owners and operators are profiting $50 off of you, and I think that is something.
I wanted to say that they're not profiting $50. The owner operators only get 70% of that money. 30% of that $50 goes to whatever the charity is. So they're only getting $37.50.
They're getting next to nothing, and the bottom line is it's not profitable. Like, that tournament was not profitable for them to run. It had the players' best interests in mind, and New Hampshire was never in a 3-day before. So regardless of what your thoughts are on how many players it got or the prize pool, listen, I don't think too many people are sitting down for a New Hampshire 250 and are mad about winning $4,000. That's an okay sum of money for most of the players there. I'd be okay with sitting on my ass for 3 days and winning $4,000. I don't care if it's 4 or 6 or 8. And not only that, it's this. I don't even feel like I'm going on a limb on saying this. It's probably the only place in the world where you can spend $250 and get the structure of a 5K tournament. In case anyone hasn't heard about this, it was 50,000 starting chips, 60-minute blinds days 1 and 2, 90-minute blinds day 3, right? Yeah, because Timmy, you actually played it, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I played it. I figure I would clear the air just so that everybody knows the whole like TDF, so on and so forth. Yeah, I'm Timothy Donald Joseph Fisher. My dad was a Baptist preacher. I got a Bible name in front. That's ergo why the whole Don, Tim, people confused. Yeah. Most of the world knows me as Don. Just not trying to create any other further confusion. But now you know. My overall opinion of the tournament was this. You know, if you're looking to know what it's like to feel the flow of playing a long, structured event, I would think you would want to do that. I remember the first time I ever played the World Series of Poker, and prior to that, my only experience was playing $300 tournaments at the Woods or playing in New Hampshire poker at Rockingham Park, where they would run 250s with 30-minute blinds. And you get out, you get in the cameras and the lights, and the tournament's 2 hours a level, and you don't realize things like breathing, taking the time to think your way through a hand, realizing that like you've got 5-6 minutes to think about something because people aren't going to call clock because you've got all this extra added time.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Yeah. And I mean, I thought it was a fantastic value. I thought the play was interesting because you could definitely tell the people who had played a serious event and people that never have, because some people were playing like they had somewhere else to be, and other people were taking the time to tank and make long, thought-out decisions. And it was very evident. Like, you could tell the difference early on in the day.
So, were you taking every hand?
No, I didn't tank every hand.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, I tend to make, just by the way that I make my decisions, I tend to make pretty quick decisions. Like, I know my thought and philosophy on it, which we were going to save to later, I thought, but I'll just go out there with it right now. I kind of know, like, the way I want to play a hand. I know what my hand is. And if I'm playing the hand the way that I wanted to play it, regardless of the outcome, if I actually played it out the way I wanted to, I'm happy with that play, regardless of the result.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to stop you there because we are going to talk about that later. And that is a great point. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things that Cheers could have done better and some of the things that were out of their control. So I was there for the opening weekend. They've only been open for 2 weeks, by the way. They had 2 weeks to promote this event, which is not enough time to promote a 3-day event. But I'm not holding that against them.
They needed 6 months to promote this event.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. 6 is a long time. I would say at least 2. Between 2 and 6 would be an adequate amount of time.
In their defense, there's people that are running around, talking. Haters will be haters, and I have lots of experience in this department.
Oh, you have haters?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, wow, I didn't think of that.
But people are going around saying, "Oh, well, they took so long to open," and et cetera, et cetera. Mm. They were given so many delays or
a lot of obstacles that came up along the way.
Right, a lot of roadblocks in getting the place open. I don't think it boded well for them to run the event from a poker standpoint. It made sense because there was nothing going on in a big way in another room, and it was a holiday weekend. But I'm sure they lost players because I'm not just sure. I know they lost players because I had friends who said, "I've already got a pre-planned party for Patriots football. I'm not missing it. I don't want to." I don't care about a 250 because I'm going out to play at 1200 Nation. It's like the really hardcore experienced players, to them, they don't want to spend 3 days for $250 because they didn't think there was going to be that many people. And the one person I'm thinking of, and I won't mention his name, but he said, "Hey, if I'd have known there's going to be over 200 people there, I would have come play it. But for only 60 people being there, I don't want to kill 3 days of my time."
Right.
I don't need the practice. I don't need the practice because I already always play really long events.
Gotcha. I mean that makes sense. But from a player's perspective, right? Do we want to hold it against a room if they're willing to roll out something immediately? Like, they're probably going to run this event in 6 months, regardless of how it opened. Well, this is may just be to get like a gauge of interest and see how they did. If they're getting 60 some odd people with basically zero promotion and marketing, how is it going to be 6 months down the road when they have a few months to prepare for it? So I don't hate any decision that is made in the player's best interest at all, because that's what this was.
Definitely
Whether or
not the
not,
player. The guys that are running this room, they're players at heart.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I love the fact that they're trying to focus on tournaments because, ever since cash became a thing in New Hampshire, it became the new hot girlfriend, and tournaments really fell by the wayside, and the numbers dropped significantly, with the exception of another room that's out there. As long as we're talking rooms, Hampton got a big number for their
we're talking
day.
rooms, yeah. Big.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, to me, it's a choppy structure. It ends up the tournament ends up choppy. It doesn't play out the whole way.
Yeah, and I mean, in Hampton's defense, anytime you get 150 players for a tournament where you're getting 30,000 starting chips, I mean, it's going to end up a shit show at some point, right?
Yeah, you have to chop in their defense. You 100% have to chop out levels because New Hampshire law won't let you carry it on into the night. You got to throw everybody out the door at 1 a.m.
Okay, so on a less serious note, you might have heard that they were giving out sit and go trophies. Cheers was on Sunday. They had a Sunday sit and go promotion. How do you feel about receiving a trophy? Because I feel like I have a different take than most people do on the trophies, though. So I want to hear your thoughts first.
If I was getting a trophy because I played like 30 sit and goes and smashed all 30 of them or something, or they had like a series of sit and goes over like a month or two, and I won more than anybody else, then yeah, that's a cool trophy.
Yeah, but you have one sit and go, one trophy. You're not about it.
I'm all set with that.
See, I couldn't think of a better thing to win. How obnoxious would it be, right? You win a sit and go, and it's like 6 o'clock at night, and then you go play cash later on, and you use that motherfucker as like a chip protector or a card protector.
Well, that would be priceless. That would be priceless.
I would be so obnoxious if I ever won a sit and go trophy for winning one tournament. And I just, like, me personally, I'm all for it. Just for the entertainment factor. I'd be showing it to everyone that saw it.
Well, now that you mentioned entertainment, I think just for the entertainment factor, that's part of New Hampshire poker. I feel like a lot of people play in New Hampshire, they don't care if they win any money. They want to come out and play a $90, $100 tournament, and they're lighting a match to the money. They do not care if they win, and they're going to call you out on gut shots, and they're going to, I think you have aces. I don't care. I got 9 high. I call. If we're gauging what Cheers did for the 3-day, I think, given the fact they've hardly been open, they did a fantastic job. Hold
on. One point that we haven't talked about is transparency with promotion in New Hampshire poker. That is one thing that I was not a fan of. There was some numbers thrown out by Cheers, like 500 something, 40 something. That's not how you're going to get me to go to your poker room. I think naturally as poker players, anytime you feel like someone's trying to pull one over on you, you have a natural reaction to kind of pull back and be like, no.
I don't know what you mean by something 40.
There was a promotion where they threw up 582 and 47.
Oh yeah, I had no idea what that was.
Yeah, exactly, right. And it's poker, so I have no idea what it is. I don't know if that's good or bad for me, if it's going to affect me at all. And I feel like you're trying to trick me into going to your room. And as a poker player, like, that's not what you want to feel, because your whole idea is to outplay people, right?
To be honest, I think that was the upper echelon of management's lack of experience in marketing.
Probably.
And trying to come up with something novel. Like, they don't have the, one of the things in the New Hampshire law is that they have to use their raked money as marketing dollars. They can't
put in extra money into marketing from out of their own pocket, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But still, here's the thing. There's a way to go about it, and this lack of transparency and this kind of cryptic message, it's like, don't do that. Just tell me what you're offering and let me make a decision, and we'll go from there.
And there's also, I think that to some degree that, like, people lost interest in tournaments in New Hampshire because there's, I see the same people playing cash that used to play every 250 at Rockingham. And, and now they're like, well, I want to play cash because, I can sit down for $300 and I might win $300 and then I can leave. They never leave either, by the way.
Yeah, and that's why they're probably stuck, 10 grand a year for the last 2 years.
Yeah, they're stuck at least 10 grand, and it's not sustainable either. That's the other issue. It's not sustainable.
All right. Well, I feel like we've covered New Hampshire poker pretty well, and I kind of want to get into this interview because I feel like a lot of people have this haven't played with you a bunch, but you are quite the persona, at least online. So I would like to ask you some questions and see if your responses. So, all right. So the first question is, how did you start playing poker? How did you get into it? Where did you see it first?
My first experience with cards, my grandparents, specifically my dad's mom and dad, they were retired. They played tons and tons of cards. My grandmother loved cards. Didn't matter what the game was. She liked to play, played cards with her. And then the neighborhood kids, in like elementary school were playing, kitchen ante poker. And we played, and that was pretty much it. And when online poker came, at the time I had a large successful business, and I used
not to brag,
but I mean at the time, I got kicked in the face in the financial crisis. It is what it is. But anyway, long story short, I did not play any major live tournament poker until the beginning of 2008.
Okay.
That's really when I came into playing any tournaments really at all.
So about the last 10 years is when you've started playing with outside of your family. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So next question. Do you enjoy getting under people's skin at the table? I feel like you kind of, when I played with you before, I remember the first time I played with you, and it was almost as if you had, I don't know if you honed in on me because you thought you could tilt me or because you thought we could like shoot the shit. And that's one thing that I haven't figured out with you is like, is he honing in to piss me off or is he honing in to like make a friend? It's such a gray area.
Well, I would say that in part, in a tournament, right? My idea of a major serious poker tournament is it's a battle. It's a mental / spiritual battle. The days of fighting with swords are over. And so, we all signed up. My goal is to wipe everybody out. The thing I like about tournaments is if I can get a read, if I can figure it out, if I can lay the trap and the trap holds and I knock you out, I won. Yeah. I got the better of you. I won the battle. You're out the door. Okay?
So is that why you make such questionable fundamental plays? Is because you're more about the spiritual? No, I'm just messing with you. But
no, that's all right. No, so in finishing in going with that, I definitely use I have the ability. And I'm not uncomfortable about talking with people or striking up and being a conversationalist. And so, I'll begin to talk about myself and poker and where I played. And if I figure out that it's irritating somebody, then I just pour extra fuel on that fire.
Yeah. See, you definitely did that to me the first time we ever played.
And they then in turn, they get super irritated and just throw the chips in the pot.
This is crazy because this was probably like, man, this must have been like 10 years. This was probably when you first started playing because I was playing in Seabrook in like 08, 09. And I remember it was probably like a $90 weekend tournament. And I could feel it. I could feel you realizing like I wasn't really responding. I wasn't very social back then. I didn't talk to people at the table. And you probably saw me as the youngest player, like, all right, I'll try to set it on this kid. And you did. And you were like, and you just kept talking to me and I wouldn't respond. I'm like, this guy is trying something. And it probably worked a little bit. I don't think I spewed you that tournament.
In some situations, it's an edge. I mean, there's God rest his soul. He's dead now. But there was this guy, Mike Noble, who played. He was a clown, had horrible jokes, and that was part of his shtick. And he used to play at Rockingham. And if I was at his table, I could start telling poker stories about any random celebrity I played with somewhere, and it would drive him absolutely crazy.
You know that you're going to do it every time, right?
Every time, guaranteed. Yeah. And the entertainment value was priceless. Now, away from the poker table, he was the nicest guy you had ever met in your life.
Right. So, with that said, have you ever gotten into a physical altercation in a poker room?
Yes, I have twice.
Twice. Were punches thrown?
The there was security jumped on a guy to stop him. His name
sober
was
now,
Ryan
but I know he got
Suazo.
sober for a
He,
while.
Oh, I heard.
during that
Oh, wait, no,
time,
no,
we
no,
had
never mind.
dogs,
WSOP
circuit championship.
won that, $1 million
And,
plus in the circuit
we were at-
It's
championship.
not Enriquez.
You know,
though. It's
that
not guy,
changed
is it?
his
Huh?
Not Ryan Enriquez though, is it?
No, his-
that's who I met. That's the name I meant.
Yeah, I know that guy. Yeah,
So-
he got.
You know, that's
what's the
definitely-
what's the most money that you've ever won from a tournament playing
The
Palm
most
Meadows?
money,
Unrelated
one
to
tournament,
Sorry,
one sitting
continue.
that I've ever won was
It might have been at
Is that at
Foxwoods.
Foxwoods?
Because that's where
Nope,
it happened.
that was at
It was
Borgata
the main
and,
event at
W-
Foxwoods, and he got banned from
WPT
Foxwoods.
Almighty
That was
State.
Oh, is that not to brag? You're playing in the
Like
main
a
event at
stream
Foxwoods.
going on
Very
there?
nice.
They got you
I will
on
never
stream.
play one. Maybe
Yeah,
one
that's
day.
one of
If I ever cash
I also
I might
played
I might
circuit
foray
event
into
at
a Foxwoods
Foxwoods.
main. But
And
I
it was
never
a main
watched
event,
it.
1600
I took
mega
first
stack,
place
whatever,
and
won it.
we were directly across from each other,
and I just
also
and I had
WPT
I had knocked him out
Live and
a
couple other events.
Mohegan Suns
Yeah,
main
I-
event
I-
like
I-
a year
I-
prior.
Love that
And he went
program.
running around telling
Certain
people.
haters
I
pick
fought
on me a
full
lot,
house
but
on him.
he
You know,
was
the
playing
one thing I'm
some
pretty
small
good at
flush
that I
got there,
you know, I play larger
and for
satellites
chips
and
and
I had
events.
dead
So,
money, which had
you know,
it just
my idea
in the
my idea
competitive
in theory
nature.
on poker
I mean,
is-
we've since become friends.
You know,
I
we
play
play
because I want to
talk
win
to him.
life-changing money.
You know,
I mean, I
we-
think it would
he's
be
probably on
fantastic to
one
be
or
on
two
TV,
drugs.
like a main event, final TV table. That's something that's always been like a dream and a passion. And I'm not going to go shell out 10K to get into a 10K.
So,
I
yeah,
have no-
can I be honest with you for a second here?
Sure.
You're gonna make way more money as a personality than you ever would playing poker. Because you are a fucking personality. You can just my 2 cents. You might disagree with me, but if you could make it onto a main event, deep into a main event and get TV time, you would. I have no doubt that you would definitely get coverage for sure.
Well, that's always been kind of is the goal. But my point is, you know, I do well in satellites. You know, that's how I get into these events. You know, I basically set a budget for the year of where I want to play, how much it's going to be, and I'll go and I'll fire satellite bolts. I have gone to foreign countries, played satellite, lost, not played the main event, and come home.
All right, we're back into it.
You know, getting back on the topic we were on about asking when I first started playing cards. I mean, the thing that really got me into playing poker and the thing I kind of miss in life, I used to be a competitive skier. I lived in Colorado and Utah for 13 years. I started competing when I was 8. I grew up in Western New York and Holiday Valley. And bad knee, hands are shot. The thing I love competition more than anything. I don't really care so much about, you know, it's the competition part of it that I'm an absolute addict of competition.
I hear you. I'm definitely I snowboard actively too, and I don't know. For me, it's more of like an internal competition. Like I don't really ever get mad at players for making plays. It's more of, you know, did I make the right play? You know, as long as I made the right play, like I'm okay with whatever the outcome is.
I only get mad when really good players have absolutely air nothing, and I like flop monsters, and I'm like,
and then you check the turn and they get there. Yeah, it must be awful, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
something like terrible.
All right, so let's I got a couple more questions and then we'll wrap this up.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Do you ever feel misunderstood in poker? Like do you feel like people have the wrong idea of who you are or what you stand for? You know, when it comes to poker, I guess. Do they just not get it?
I think some people definitely have a wrong idea of me. You know, certain people will, you know, they talk bad about me and like in a given circle, and so then I enter the room, and then the people that were talked to now have a negative. They had no opportunity to form an opinion of me.
It's like a cancer almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. That's fair.
Now, the next question would be, do I care? From a
I think I know the answer to that.
Well, there's two sides to it. From a poker standpoint, I don't care. I'm there to stab people in the forehead. Okay. From a personal,
That might be the line of a podcast right there.
okay. Well, I'm just
I mean,
telling.
no, but I like it. You're being honest. I like that.
You know, I mean, I want to knock people out. I don't want them to stay. I don't want to have a cripple a guy and have him like storm back and then take all my chips. I want to knock you out and send you home. But
I've always thought that. Sorry, but I want to get this in real quick. I always thought that tournaments and cash games were uniquely different in the sense that tournaments, you don't give a shit. You're trying to knock them out, get them to lead. Cash games, if you got a efficient table, you want them to stay. So I feel like your attitudes and how you deal with people in both are almost the opposite. Like, I'm okay with being a dick. If I'm in a tournament, I am a fucking asshole. I don't want to talk to you. I want nothing to do with you unless I know you. But, like, I'm not looking to get into it with random strangers. I just put my headphones in and, like, fuck everyone. Dash games, I'm drinking a beer, talking to people. And I have more fun at cash games anyway. Tournaments are like a mental grind, I think.
Well, they're totally different. You know, playing a large field tournament with, coincidentally, that one you mentioned, you know, at Borgata, 2,400 people.
You mentioned it, but
yeah, I mean, it's completely different game. But you know, I mean, I think the question's been asked. You know, how am I like not at the poker table? I mean, I'm nice to everyone. You know, I try to be, you know, a decent being. Yeah, I try to be a good human being to people.
Yeah,
you know?
I kind of get that sense. And in my talks with you, you seem like a good person. That
I'm not racist. I'm not a racist person.
Despite your social media. It comes off as a little bit racist sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I have a lot of friends that, you know, live varying lifestyles. I don't, you know, I believe in freedom of the truth of America. You know, whether I want to own a gun or not, my prerogative. You know, I want to take care of my family. That's, you know, my prerogative. I want to speak my mind. I should be able to do that. You know,
but I also think a lot of things. Something that people might not understand is, like, I don't think you mean a lot of the offensive shit that you post. I think you get a kick out of pissing people off that are capable of being offended. Am I wrong or right? Right or wrong?
No, you're accurate. I mean, it's entertaining when I post something and, like, it spins out of control and 600 people are still.
I know you're sitting behind the computer like, oh, this is fucking awesome, and it's funny. You know, I can't blame you for that. I'm a troll.
I have one that I posted like 5 weeks ago that people are still fighting on it now. 5 weeks later.
That's fair. Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap this up. I think this was a good interview, good first episode. So thank you for coming on.
I appreciate the opportunity. I'm honored to be the first ever guest. I would like to be able to come back and be the 100th guest.
Hopefully, you've propelled this podcast into orbit. So hopefully we can stay there. But it's on our producer to actually come up with the product and make this.
I agree.
So Joe, no pressure, but don't.
Yeah, happy to answer your questions, Joe.
Nice, perfect. Okay, all right. Thanks, man.
All right, see you, man.
All right, later.
Yep.
All right, so that wraps it up for the first episode of 20 Minutes of Truth. I think we went a little bit longer than 20 minutes, but hopefully you guys enjoyed listening and didn't mind the extra time. So we're going to try to have another. We have a guest in mind for next week. I'm going to tease it a little bit, but he works in one of the poker rooms, and that's all I'll say. But hopefully we can arrange a time and have it ready to go next week. So thanks for making it this far, and hope to see you guys again. Thanks. All right. Cut, producer Joe. Cut it.
So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby.